What if that boring old car in your garage was secretly worth €50,000? Once laughed at, now selling for Ferrari money. Collectors are fighting over cars nobody wanted. These aren't supercars or limited editions. They're everyday flops turned gold mines. And number one? It went from a €3,000 joke to a €180,000 treasure. Back in 1992, the Volkswagen Corrado VR6 was a commercial failure. VW aimed to sell 10,000 units a year in the US, but barely managed 5,000. In Europe, dealers struggled. Too pricey for a VW, not premium enough for the cost. Production ended in 1995 with just 97,521 built worldwide. Fast forward to 2025, and clean VR6 Corrados now sell for €35,000. Low-mileage cars, €45,000. A rare Storm Edition in green fetched €58,000 at auction. Porsche-level money for what was once a dressed-up Golf. Why the surge? That narrow-angle VR6 engine earned legendary status. It sounds unique, tuners love it, and the design still looks modern 30 decades later. But most were wrecked, modified, or scrapped. Unmodified survivors are unicorns. One German owner daily drove his since 2010 after paying €4,500. He just sold it for €42,000, an 837% gain. Meanwhile, his neighbour's safe BMW lost value. Sometimes the oddball pays off. Renault built the Clio Williams to celebrate their Formula One success. Just 3,800 Phase 1 and 1,600 Phase 2s were made. At launch, nobody cared. It was seen as a dressed-up econo-box with gold wheels. Priced at €18,000, many sat unsold for months. Today, those gold wheels alone fetch €2,000. Complete Phase 1 cars trade for €40,000 to €55,000. Phase 2 models go for €35,000 to €45,000. One pristine Phase 1 with delivery mileage sold for €71,000. Why? It had everything. Real motorsport routes, limited numbers, and most were abused, thrashed by young owners, crashed, or heavily modified. Survivors are rare. UK insurance data shows only 341 Phase 1s remain out of 1,200 sold. A French mechanic had one parked in his barn since 1996. His wife kept urging him to sell. He finally listed it in 2024, and it sold in 6 hours for €52,000. Safe to say, she no longer complains about his car hoarding. BMW designers called it the clown shoe. Journalists mocked its odd proportions. Sales were poor. Only 6,318 units sold globally over 4 years. Dealers begged people to test drive them. Some refused to stock it altogether. Now the joke's on everyone who laughed. S54 engine models go for $80,000 to $100,000. Even earlier S50 and S52 versions fetch $50,000 to $70,000. A Dakar Yellow individual model sold for $127,000. Why the reversal? BMW accidentally built a future icon. The bizarre shape became distinctive, and the raw driving feel is something modern M cars can't replicate. Low production numbers sealed its collectible status. Original, untouched examples are nearly extinct. One Munich dentist bought his new in 2001 for 67,000 Deutschmarks, about €34,000. His friends mocked him then. In 2024, he sold it with just 31,000 kilometers for €95,000. That's a 179% return, while those same friends watch their sensible M3s stagnate. In the 1990s, the Peugeot 205 GTI was everywhere. Cheap, fast, and beloved by boy racers. Insurance companies hated them. Police knew them on sight. Most were crashed, stolen, or modified into oblivion. By 2010, rough examples sold for €500. Then the market flipped. Clean 1.9 GTIs go for €25,000 to €35,000. Pristine ones, €45,000. The ultra-rare F1 edition hit €65,000, if you can find one. Even early Phase 1 1.6 models now fetch €30,000 for original condition, despite costing just €12,000 new. The shift is dramatic. French data shows 31,205 GTIs registered in 2005. By 2020, only 2,100 remained. Survivors became instant collectibles. The driving feel, raw, mechanical, visceral, can't be found in modern cars. A UK seller bought a rough 1.9 for £800 in 2012 as a project. He never restored it, just kept it dry. In 2024, he sold it, unrestored, for £18,000. That's a 2,150% return for doing absolutely nothing but waiting.
The Lancia Delta Integrale dominated rally stages but flopped in showrooms. It was expensive to buy, expensive to maintain, and hard to find parts for. Lancia dealers were rare, and buyers chose easier alternatives. Across all variants, just 44,000 were produced. Now, the tables have turned. Standard 16V models sell for €40,000 to €60,000. Evolution versions reach €70,000 to €90,000. The final Evolution 2, €130,000. A Martini 6 edition even sold for €180,000. Lamborghini territory. Why the spike? Because they disappeared. Rust claimed most, and rally enthusiasts wrecked the rest. A rust-free, original Integrale is nearly mythical. Italian registration data shows an 80% attrition rate. One Belgian enthusiast bought 6 rusty shells in 2008 for €15,000 total. People laughed. He restored one, used the others for parts. Just sold the finished car for €75,000. The leftover shells? Worth €10,000 each in parts. Sometimes hoarding pays off. Big. Ford built just 4,501 units of the Focus RS Mk1. At launch, it was a tough sell. £23,000 for a hardcore, overly blue hatchback. Too expensive for a Ford, too extreme for average buyers. Dealers pre-registered hundreds just to meet sales targets. Some sat unsold for over a year. Now, it's a collector's item. Solid examples trade for £40,000 to £50,000. Top-tier ones hit £60,000 to £70,000. One ultra-low mileage car sold for £83,000. That's a 260% return for a Focus. The same traits that once hurt sales now drive value. That imperial blue paint is iconic. The aggressive styling aged well, and they were used hard. UK MOT records show survivors average 120,000 miles. Low-mileage cars are unicorns. One Irish farmer bought his in 2003 on clearance. He drove it twice a year and forgot it in a barn. During a COVID clean-out, he found it was just 2,800 miles. He sold it for €67,000. His stocks lost money. His forgotten Focus made him rich.
VW launched the Golf R32 to take on Subaru and Mitsubishi, but it missed the mark. Too subtle, too expensive at €38,000, and lacking the flashy wings or vents buyers expected. Sales underwhelmed. Many sat in showrooms until dealers slashed prices. Only about 10,000 units were sold in Europe. Fast forward, and those understated R32s are now hot property. Clean examples fetch €30,000 to €40,000. Low-mileage ones hit €50,000. Manual cars with full history command whatever sellers ask. What changed? That 3.2-litre VR6 engine, naturally aspirated in a turbo era, is the star. The sound is addictive. Manual gearboxes are rare and prized. Most came with DSG, and unmodified manuals are nearly extinct. When one appears, bidding wars break out. A German student stretched to buy one in 2004. His parents called it irresponsible. He babied it for 20 years, racking up only 35,000 kilometers. In 2024, he sold it for €48,000. His bad decision beat his friends' mortgages. The Renault Sport Spider was outrageous. No roof, no windows at first, just a plastic shell with an engine. Priced at €35,000 in 1996, it made no sense to most buyers. Only 1,600 were built, and sales tanked. Now, they're gold. Windscreen models go for 60,000 to 80,000 euros. The ultra-rare no-screen versions, 90,000 to 120,000 euros. One pristine example sold for 140,000 euros. That's a 300% increase for a car no one wanted. Why the demand? Because nothing else is like it. It's barely a car, more race machine than road vehicle. The drive is brutally raw, and surviving examples are scarce. Many were tracked and crashed. One French dealer accepted one as a trade-in for 8,000 euros in 2009. Customers hated it, so he used it as a courtesy car, then stuck it in storage. During renovations in 2023, he rediscovered it and sold it instantly for 85,000 euros. Forgotten inventory turned into fortune.
The Honda S200 was too extreme for many buyers. A 9,000 RPM redline scared some. Others hated the lack of torque below 6,000 RPM. Insurance costs were brutal. Despite critical praise, sales lagged. Many units sat unsold until the model was discontinued in 2009. But the market flipped. Clean AP1 models now sell for 30,000 to 40,000 euros. AP2s go for 45,000 to 55,000 euros. Limited editions like the GT reach 70,000 euros. One owner, low-mileage cars? Name your price. What changed? That VTEC engine is now legendary. The gearbox is still considered one of the best ever. But most S2000s were modified or tracked. Finding an original one is a serious challenge. A Portuguese owner bought a tired example for 12,000 euros in 2015 and spent years restoring it on weekends. In 2024, he sold it for 47,000 euros. His passion project ended up beating any financial investment he'd made. Sometimes, love for a machine pays off. The Alpine A610 was a disaster when new. Odd-looking, expensive, and sold through weak Renault dealers. Just 818 were built between 1991 and 1995. Many sat unsold for years. Some were even sold at half price just to move inventory. Now, those 818 misfits are prized. Good examples sell for 70,000 to 90,000 euros. Exceptional ones break 100,000 euros. One museum-grade car went for 180,000 euros. That's Ferrari money for what used to be a forgotten parts car. What changed? Alpine's revival made anything with the badge collectible. The A610 was the last true Alpine before the brand went dark. Its turbo V6 is brilliant. The handling is razor-sharp. And they're nearly extinct, only around 400 believed to survive worldwide. One French mechanic bought a wrecked one in 2005 for 3,000 euros. People called him crazy. He spent years sourcing parts, then fully restored it. In 2024, he sold it to a Japanese collector for 145,000 euros.
These cars had one thing in common: failure. Too expensive, too strange, or too niche when new. Most were used hard and discarded, but over time, survivors became rare. Nostalgia took over. Suddenly, everyone wanted the cars no one saved. The lesson? Today's unloved models could be tomorrow's treasures. That oddball in your garage might be worth a fortune. The dusty sales flop in storage could be gold. Sometimes the market gets it wrong. Sometimes weird wins. But here's the warning: for every Corrado VR6, there are 50 Vauxhall Vectras worth nothing. Collecting cars takes research, instinct, and a bit of luck. Most cars just get old. A few become legends. What forgotten car do you think will explode in value next? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more future gold mines before prices skyrocket, don't forget to subscribe. You might already be sitting on a fortune.